Well, JT, you've got some big news to share with the Freo fans.
Yeah, I can happily say that I've extended on to 2030.
Well, mate, it's great to have you, obviously, extending, but you're already contracted to 2026. I guess the obvious question is, why have you decided to extend on further?
The offer was there to hang on for a bit longer, and I thought it was clearly a no-brainer with the situation that the club is in and the way that I feel like the club's going to go.
Absolutely, mate. And you're one of now 5 players that have signed till 2029 or further. Obviously, like you sort of touched on, just all in on what the club's building.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel like it's a little bit of giving back to the club after what they gave me a few years ago in an opportunity. So I feel like if I can do my best to help repay not only the club but the fans and everyone involved.
Absolutely. And specifically the forward line group, that's you, Jai and Jacko, all signed to 2029 or further. Triple J, threat down there. That must be came into the thoughts as well a bit, having the key forwards all sort of signed.
Definitely did. We feel like we're building every week, and it's not always going to click for us, but we feel like the more time we spend together, the better it's going to be. And can definitely spend another 5 or 6 years with those boys. It's going to be really exciting.
And looking specifically back to when you got drafted, I've heard you talk about it being a bit of a tough pill to swallow, being overlooked initially and then going into the rookie draft and eventually getting picked up by Freo. Just what were those few days sort of like for you? And you've sort of spoken about how you want to pay back the Freo family.
Yeah, a bit of a roller coaster. I think most kids in the country go through it when they experience a draft night or those couple of days like I did. It was uncertainty going into the draft and obviously heartbreak when your name doesn't get called out, but pure excitement and joy the next day. You were pretty quick to turn it around, and that's where the journey all started.
And COVID sort of played its part in that time, obviously. It was a bit of a blessing and a curse in the fact that it sort of wiped out a lot of that exposure that you could have got in those crucial sort of years. But then also being from country Victoria, you were out sort of not, I guess, stuck in some of the more lockdown areas, so you still had the opportunity to maybe be a bit more active in that. Do you sort of see it that way?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't have to go to school, so was pretty much just training for footy every day just to stay fit. Knowing that restrictions may lift at some time and an opportunity to train, in front of recruiters or something like that might pop up, and it eventually did. And that was towards the back end of the year, and I felt like I presented myself in pretty good condition, and it wasn't much of a training, but it was just feel like enough, and it got me over the line.
How big was sort of the family at that time for you out there on the farm specifically?
Yeah, quite big for me. Not a big loving teddy bear man at times, but that was. Some challenging times. It felt like that footy had been just ripped away from me, and had to look at other avenues and enjoy life for what it was at the time and make the most out of what I could. And fortunately enough, we grew up on a lot of acres as a kid, so we had a bit more of a freedom rather than the proper lockdown, you could say. So I think that freedom of the farm and the space certainly helped.
And just being from the farm and that as well, the sort of work ethic and dedication, do you think that you sort of learnt that from your family with the early morning rises and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. Mum and Dad are both very hardworking, and certainly wouldn't be in this situation without those two. And got a very pushing little brother as well, and he certainly kept the motivation up over the years. And not just that, but travel as well. And there's a lot of factors that went into it.
And fast forward a couple of years now, mate, and 6th in the Coleman Medal, the best scoring goal accuracy in the top 40 in the Coleman Medal. You're rated as elite for marks. I know you're not one to probably toot your own horn, but you're having a serious standout year. What do you sort of, boil that down to?
A couple of things like you mentioned, a lot of hard work, and you have to go through a few things over the years as you learn in these systems, and a couple of injuries, a couple of light bulb moments, and figuring it all out at the same time. And having to work really hard in those situations to get my body, get my mental state and game to where I want it to be.
And yeah, exactly. You touched on the injuries and that there as well. But those first few years, this year you've already gone past you've kicked more goals this year than you had in your previous 30, 40 odd games combined, nearly taken more marks, disposals, the whole lot. Is that something with the dedication and that you've shown in your work craft, and we've heard JG and that talk about your work ethic and Wolsey on and off the field, is that it just sort of clicked this year, or has it been this whole the process of the first few years coming to now?
I think a bit of both. Certainly been a reward for effort, I feel, but it's been a long process, and I wouldn't say it's complete yet. I'm still trying to figure out a few things as well, and feel like my game's got a long way to go. But yeah, I feel like my routines and that throughout the week and habits are really setting me up in a good position.
And I know players are always one to play the straight bat with this sort of question, but the team at the moment is sort of sitting in a very good place. You've not played finals for the club before. Is that something as well that's really driving you?
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly in an exciting position as a club, and yeah, we're obviously wary of that, but at the same time we need to chip away a week at a time, and we've got a really big month ahead of us, and hopefully further, but if we can chip away a week at a time over the next few weeks and really put ourselves in a strong position to hopefully finish off the back half of the year.
And the Bombers on Sunday at the MCG, another big game for the club obviously, but also your birthday. Will have a bit of extra meaning, especially coming off the back of some great news.
I'm not one to celebrate the birthday too much, but yeah, it'd be good to be back in front of family and friends, back in Vic, and obviously an exciting challenge back on the G, which is always exciting, and Essendon have been a quality team all year, so it's going to be a great challenge.